Let's go now to the shadow Federal Attorney-General Julian Lesser. Good to talk to you again, Julia. Just first up, your reaction to the events we saw on the weekend and the fact that authorities were forced to facilitate it.
Well, Chris, I condemn the protest on the Sydney Harbour Bridge in the strongest possible terms. I'm a member of Parliament that represents Northern Sydney. Many of my constituents were inconvenienced trying to access the city. The bridge was closed most of the day. People who live in and around the bridge were massively inconvenienced as a result of this. The bridge is a symbol of the unity of this city. It is also a symbol of the unity of our nation. And the bridge should not be hijacked for causes that divide our country. The bridge should only be used for things that unite our country. And I think this was a very bad decision of the Supreme Court to allow this protest to go ahead. I note that the state government and the New South Wales Police both opposed it going ahead. And I think the state government now needs to look at whether the protest laws of this state need to be tightened in order to prevent the bridge being used in such a fashion again.
The Prime Minister is going out of his way to condemn anything about the protest. He seems to think it was all sweetness and light. Here he was today.
The images that we've seen, it's not surprising that so many Australians have been affected in order to want to show their concern at people being deprived of food and water and essential services. And so the demonstration in a democracy, it's important that people be able to express themselves.
There he goes, feeding this narrative as if Israel is deliberately depriving water and food to the people of Gaza. Now, we know living in Gaza is a war-torn trauma at the moment because of Hamas's actions, but Israel says it's not starving people. The American, the presidential envoy who went in says the same. What's your view of these claims against Israel?
We have to remember the root cause of why Gaza is in the situation it is in. That is because on the 7th of October 2023, Hamas came into Israel. They launched a terrorist attack, the likes of which Israel had never seen. There were 1,200 people that were killed on that day, and more than 200 people were taken hostage and taken back into Gaza. There are still 50 people who are held in the most appalling conditions, and the video that you showed of the hostage who is emaciated, who looks like someone who's come out of Bergen-Belsen in the Holocaust, who's been forced to dig his own grave, who's been starved and malnourished. That is the reason why the conflict in Gaza continues, because those 50 hostages have not been released. If Hamas would release the hostages, if they would lay down their weapons, if they would have nothing more to do with the future of Gaza, then and the future of the region, then things would go back to the way they were.
But let me just jump in there, Julian, because you got the Prime Minister saying that this is all a bunch of people marching across the bridge because they felt humanity for the victims in Gaza. He's completely turning a blind eye to the fact that we had the Ayatollah Khamenei paraded across the bridge. We had the flags of terrorist organisations displayed, people masking their faces with scarves. We had Sheikh Dadoun there, the man who celebrated October the 7th at Lakemba, now pretending to march for humanity. I mean, there are so many aspects of this march that it fueled exactly the sort of anti-Israel and anti-Semitic sentiments that have troubled this country so much over the past 2 years.
And some of the images I've seen online also indicate that people were chanting Intifada as well. Look, these have been very distressing images coming from the bridge yesterday in terms of the way people sought to protest, people holding terrorist flags. We have passed laws to try and prevent that. We passed laws to try and prevent people holding symbols of terrorist leaders and so on. When people are holding pictures of the Ayatollah, a person who not only has been the cause of so much disruption and financing of terror in the Middle East, but who in this country, his regime is terrorising Iranian Australians. It's just appalling that other people would be holding up a symbol of such a person. I understand
Yet, Julian Lesser, they were doing that, and some of them were chanting death, death to the IDF, and our Prime Minister calls it a peaceful protest.
I don't think that there was anything peaceful about a protest where somebody chants death. And it's the opposite of what Tony Burke was saying back in Melbourne after the burning of the synagogue and the invasion of Miznon. So the government, yet again, is trying to have it both ways. People have the right to protest. People have the right to call for the change of the foreign policy of this country. But they don't have the right to do it in a way that incites violence, and they don't have the right to do it in a way that disrupts the law-abiding people of Sydney who want to go about their business.
I just want to go to another issue while I've got you. As a Shadow Attorney-General, there's been this news out of Canberra today of the arrest of a Chinese woman on under foreign interference laws. What do you know about this? Will you be seeking a briefing, and what can you tell us?
Look, the Coalition will certainly seek a briefing about this, and I can't tell you any more than is currently in the media at the present time. Foreign interference laws were passed under the last Coalition government because we'd seen the level of foreign interference here in Australia being at an all-time high. The Director-General of ASIO had said, and that's why we have these laws, because we want to protect our intellectual property, we want to protect the secrets of government, we want to ensure that our democracy is properly functioning. That's why we have those laws, and we'll be seeking a briefing on the nature of the arrests that have occurred.
Julian Lesser, thanks for joining us.